And good evening to our fellow listeners and followers. Tonight is Sunday, September 15th at 8:29 p.m. This is Federico Lyons of States Rights Radio and
Seth Hancock of Seth Hancock Reports. And tonight's episode, a continuation of the 2024 election circus and military-industrial complex situation that plagues America. We had last week... We had another fine little circus show called The Debate. I can say up front, I couldn't watch it. I started to watch it, and I saw maybe a minute, maybe 2 minutes at most of both Harris and Trump talking, and I had to turn it off. And quite frankly, I haven't watched any of the clips. I've seen, some stories written about it, things like, Trump bringing up the Haitian migrants allegedly eating cats and dogs and ducks and geese. And I've seen some other things about... basically both Trump and Harris were fighting over who supports Israel more. I couldn't stand to watch it. I don't know how much you were able to stomach, but for me, I got a couple minutes in and I'm like, I'm not watching this theater.
No, I didn't. I honestly, Seth, I didn't watch it at all because I just can't stand, the both party system. I really can't. I just saw the snippets and then I kind of saw what he blatantly said something about they're eating dogs, they're eating cats somewhere in Ohio. I mean, I know in certain parts of Ohio they eat squirrels. That's they're given, probably, closer to Kentucky. But, to say something like that and install fear, that's what he's doing. He's installing fear so people can, but it just sounds so ridiculous to install that type of fear. And, I think he failed in the debate. I think he really was not presentable. Kamala Harris, I also don't like her. She's... a hypocrite just like Trump, but she plays the better hypocrite, and she has a little more panache and cachet of taking on Trump. But can I trust both of them? No. Am I going to vote for one or the other? No, I'm going to abstain because they don't believe in they don't have my values of federalism and individualism and less federal government. Both of them want big federal government, one for a military-industrial complex that we'll discuss in a few moments, and the other one that wants social services, but yet also wants a big industrial complex. Keep in mind, she's a former prosecutor, so she knows that she'll be in the side of law enforcement and the military-industrial complex. She'll definitely give aid and support to Israel and Ukraine and all that. But for a moment, so let's go back into the whole migrant situation. I don't understand, America is the land of the free, home of the brave. We welcome people from all across the world, from religious persecution, political persecution. That's fine and dandy, and and we want to help that. But, ever since they wrote that poem of give us your pool, you're hungry, you're destitute, and all that, why do people think that America is a land of dependency? Where do that? If I don't want domestic citizens to be dependent of the government, why would I give nationals, foreign nationals, and immigrants dependency? If you want to come to America, fine. If you're escaping religious persecution and political persecution, we welcome you with open arms. But you have to work at it. You cannot just accept, like Jimmy Carter did in 1978 with the Mariel boat lift, or any other president in the 20th century. you have to work at it. You can't just be given citizenship status or residence status for, just like that. So why do people, do the American people from the left and the right, do they want that? Do they want your tax dollars sanctioned by the 16th Amendment to give to these individuals? Do you want that, Seth? Do you want your tax dollars given to that, to U.S. citizens or non-citizens?
Well, yeah, that's the thing. I oppose socialism. So it's I'm opposed to all welfare. I'm opposed to a government safety net, and that doesn't mean I don't believe in a safety net, but I believe safety net needs to be built by free citizens on their own, helping each other out. And I do believe that. I believe we should help our fellow man out. I'm a Christian. I believe that, but government is force. It's theft, and government makes problems worse. This is why I'm opposed to socialism. So I when we talk about immigration, it's kind of like I sound like a broken record, but the calls for building a wall, that's not the problem. The problem is the socialist magnet that's drawing immigrants in with all these free handouts and everything, and also because we're going to talk about the military-industrial complex, and this is something that I thought of hearing about the Haitian migrants and the allegations of eating pets, and it's that our government is destabilizing countries around the world, and people are fleeing their countries, and they're coming to the West, they're coming to America, because we've destabilized their homeland. So the problems are not really border security. The problems are our actions in trying to police the world, and our socialist welfare system, which, again, I'm opposed to all welfare from government, whether it's to immigrants or American citizens. And unfortunately, most Americans are socialists. A lot of them don't like the welfare going to immigrants, but they have no problem taking it themselves. And I'm opposed to it all.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And, I'm also a religious man, and I like to help my fellow man, but that's my own money. But when you're forced to it by the government, there we have a problem. I don't mind private charities be open to helping the destitute and the infirmed and all that. I encourage that. But I don't encourage the government doing it, because that's not the role of government, particularly the federal government. It's not the role of the federal government to do that. So that's why I'm opposed. So when I see these two buffoons, Trump and Harris, and something that Seth pointed out when we were talking about it before the show, that he noticed that not one of them said the word liberty. Not one. Not even the word the Constitution. So, what is going on here? We want to preserve the Constitution. We don't want to get rid of it. We want to, Harris I did see that she says that her and Tim Walz are both gun owners. Well, I don't know. I don't see you carrying a gun. I see your Secret Service carrying guns. Does that, it's all a circus to feed off on this tribalism, on this sense of bullcrap that we see it on, and now it's gotten worse. I think it really began with Sarah Palin, and it just got really worse with Trump, and now, with the left as well. The unions are getting riled up for Harris and Walz, also with Trump and Vance. So, but they're getting a sense of this tribalism that, it's become a circus, this circus of tribal fighters. And it's just pathetic that, the entire debate was just one thing I want to point out. The entire debate was just an attack on their personalities. It was not an attack on principles, on ideas. They just said, well, her plan is awful. Well, my plan is great. And my plan is awful, but her plan is awful. My plan is great. So, it's me, and no longer what's the best for your state, for our country, the sense of preserving the Constitution, maintain the Constitution. I didn't hear the Republican candidate, Donald Trump, say that. Neither have I seen Harris. So, that scares me is when they disregard the Constitution like that, and that's what I will not vote for either of them, because they don't want to preserve and protect and maintain the Constitution. Which, by the way, the Constitution was made by the states, not by the federal government.
Yeah, and just to piggyback on that, I did a word search. I got the transcript of the debate, and I did a quick word search. Like Federico said, the word liberty wasn't mentioned once. The word freedom was mentioned 3 times, and that was by Kamala Harris, basically talking about the freedom of women to murder their children, because that's the only time they care about freedom. The word Constitution was mentioned 5 times, 3 times by the moderators, because they were at the National Constitution Center. So the word Constitution was mentioned just to name the place they were at. And Kamala Harris brought it up twice, basically to say how Donald Trump hates the Constitution. Well, she's right, but she hates it as well. The word COVID, the word pharma, vaccines, Pfizer, flu, not mentioned once. And to me, the greatest crime against Americans' liberty in the last 4 years was the COVID con, and we don't want to grapple with the crimes that took place there by our government against us. The word democracy was mentioned 10 times. The word republic mentioned once. Debt, deficit, spending, a total of 3 times deficit was mentioned. Nobody talked about debt. Nobody talked about spending, about the massive spending. Israel was mentioned 19 times.
Of course.
But the thing that, and this was why I couldn't stand the debate, was the word plan. I kept hearing the word plan talked about in the first couple minutes of both Trump and Harris speaking. Is basically, the word plan was mentioned 36 times in the debate, and it's basically both of them talking about, I've got the better plan for Americans, the other side has a bad plan for Americans, and I'm like, this is the problem. I don't want your plans. I want you to get the government out of my life. That's what I want.
And I was going to say, how many times did they mention Ukraine? If they mentioned Israel, how many times did they mention Israel? 6 times?
19 times.
19 times they mentioned Ukraine. Yeah, okay. Yeah, unbelievable.
Yeah, so it's, this is, I know I'm listening to 2 arrogant narcissists who think that they are these all-powerful people who can plan our lives. I don't need your plans. Knock it off. Give me liberty. Patrick Henry, give me liberty or give me death. But that's the state of affairs we're in, and this is, and I say this recognizing this has been the way debates have gone for my entire life, basically. I mean, I remember, you go back to 2012. When I was a Ron Paul supporter, Ron Paul will be the only candidate talking about the Constitution, talking about liberty. But This is people want a leader. Well, I don't. I want a public servant.
Who mentioned the word republic once? Was it Trump or Harris?
I didn't check that out.
Okay. And, because again, I take it both sides said the word democracy 10 times, so 5-5 or 4-9.
Yeah.
And, it's
about that, yeah.
Yeah, so both sounds like Wilsonian progressives. I see that from the Democrats because Woodrow Wilson was a Democrat. But, Republicans, when they start talking about we live in a democracy and we're a democracy, that's just, it just... to say a Randy Quaid quote from Moving, that just chokes my chickens. It's very insulting to hear that people think that we are a democracy. No, we're not. We don't want to be a populist democracy. We don't want the hassles that we see in Venezuela or Mexico or wherever, or England or wherever. We don't want to see that. We're not a democracy. We've never been a democracy. I don't understand that. I don't understand why people keep referring to the United States as a democracy. We're a representative republic. We have a Congress that is supposed to be our representation, not the president. It's Congress who is our representation. The president doesn't represent us. The president is just a public servant, a bureaucrat. That's all he is. He has a fancy title, but he's a bureaucrat. And I don't understand why people think that we need to look up to this person, whether it's a he or a she. No, we don't. We just need for him to go into work at 8 a.m., clock out at 5 p.m., and have his happy dinner in the Lincoln bedroom and shut up to the next day. And do your job, what you're supposed to do, which is it's listed in the Constitution. It couldn't be simpler what the official acts of the president is. It's right there. The Supreme Court has even had to have a hearing, a ruling to dictate what the official duties are for the president. I mean, are we as Americans so dumb and ignorant that we have to have somebody else read what the duties are of the President of the United States? I mean, even I'm not, a lawyer or anything like that, but I know what the duties are. It's quite simple. I could be your president. I would do a better job than Trump or Kamala or Biden or whoever. I would do a better job than any of these buffoons, but it's just, when I hear the word democracy and it gives this sense of populism and dreamery that just really upsets me that, it creates this illusion of tribalism on both sides. You see Dinesh D'Souza saying that, we live in a free and fair elections and we must have a democracy. No, we don't. We don't have, I just, when I hear that 10 times and only one said the word republic or whoever said it, I probably was the moderator because I think those two idiots don't even know what a republic is. But it's just really sad to see, America go down the flames in a wannabe democracy. It just makes me really depressed. But I don't want to be depressed, but it just makes me depressed.
Yeah, it's and the problem is that people don't think about these issues. They just they think that the president is this all powerful entity. They both sides affectionately call the president of the United States the most powerful man or woman in the world. The president's supposed to be a weak position, but people don't want that, and that's the problems we have in this country, and people don't really care to know what the founding fathers envisioned. They like to use the founders as a political tool, but they don't. They don't listen to the wisdom of the founders, which, our topic on the military industrial complex is a good example because, George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, a whole host of founders warned about standing armies. They warned about not getting engaged in foreign affairs. We're supposed to promote peace and fair trade with all and alliances with none. But we've got an empire to protect today now, and the people want that. The people want an American empire, and I want national sovereignty, which means we butt out of other people's business. But we've completely lost all the wisdom of the founders, and nobody wants to hear it.
No, you're right. Nobody wants to hear it. Thomas Jefferson says, "Yeah, you're right. Free trade and no alliances." And that's what and the thing is that back then in the old days, of course, yeah, in the old days, but yet I like to refer also to Calvin Coolidge days as well. We wanted free trade, we wanted fair trade, and that's what Calvin Coolidge did with all the European nations, including Germany, just after the war, and Europe and Asia. To have this type of trade with no tariffs. Either indirect or direct taxation, none. It's just free trade, fair businesses, and all that. And that's what we need to understand that. And if anybody attacks the United States, our own citizens, then as Thomas Jefferson did, he went to Congress. He got permission to armed commercial vessels, American commercial vessels, and defeat the Barbary pirates because they were attacking our vessels, our commercial and military vessels. So. Now it's all bases all across the world in Germany and France, and we listen to NATO officials, which NATO is a big mistake thanks to George C. Marshall and the UN and the OAS, thanks to also the Marshall Plan. Now we have all these organizations that we lose that sovereignty. Now I'm not. There is a sense of national sovereignty and there's always state sovereignty. And here in this country, I rather have state sovereignty over national sovereignty because, to me, federalism is more important than nationalism. I don't want a strong... When people say national sovereignty, they want a strong leader. They want somebody to dictate that policy like we had with Reagan or we had with Bush. And I don't want that. I don't want a president to dictate what, to impose an American way of life on the rest of the world. I don't want that. I don't want another Reagan saying Gorbachev tear down this wall. That's Gorbachev's problem with the wall in Berlin. I don't want to see situations in Nicaragua or Venezuela. That's their problem. They've had a corrupt regime in Venezuela. They have to solve it, not us. I don't want the CIA to intervene, or in Chile or in wherever. If Chile, sadly, Chile was nationalizing their copper industry. A lot of companies here in the United States were suffering. Well, that's the way of life. Look for another business. Look for another country to do business with the copper industry. But don't involve the United States with federal funding to help out Chile or help out Venezuela. That's not what we're supposed to do. So we need When I hear national sovereignty, I hear nationalism, and I don't want that because that imposes central authority over state authority in our sovereign states. And, I know many people don't like John C. Calhoun. I know John C. Calhoun had a vague interpretation of the 1840s with, labor production, but he did say a quote that I kind of like. This country is divided into many distinct sovereignties. It's many distinct sovereignties pulled together into the American Union, but the powers represent, the powers are represented. The federal government has their powers. The states have their powers. That's how this country was born and formed. And people need to understand that. But sadly, with the MAGA movement and the Democrat movement nowadays, you're right, Seth. People have lost the touch of the wisdom of the framers of the Constitution, and now we see new framers, new progressives, and the 1913 progressives, the 1935 progressives, and so on and so on. And now the 2020 progressives under Trump, that, sadly, we're losing that.
Yeah, and, this desire to build an empire is a major part of why we're in the place we are. And you just go to the Haitian migrants, and The thing about it is that is in terms of the allegations of eating pets and everything like that. I did a little research on that, and I found out that there was a case in Canton, Ohio, not Springfield, Ohio, of a woman who was caught on body camera eating a neighbor's cat. She happened to be an American citizen, not a Haitian migrant. But then you had some photos of allegedly a Haitian migrant carrying geese from one of the parks in Springfield, Ohio. I don't know. This whole thing was stupid regardless. By the way, just for pro-lifers, it seemed like Donald Trump had more concern for pets than he does for unborn babies. But I'm just saying. But, this whole thing, I believe there are problems in Springfield, Ohio, based on some of the numbers I'm seeing. This is a town of about 60,000 residents, and they've had an influx of about 20,000 Haitian migrants within the last several years. That's going to cause problems. It just is. But, it all gets put into this kind of circus thing with this allegations of eating pets, which I can find no evidence, no proof that this is some widespread problem. And you know what? If there are people having their pets stolen and eaten, that's a problem for local authorities to take up, not for the president. But in terms of the immigration and why are these people from Haiti coming to America? Well, I think a large part of it is that America is destabilizing Haiti. Just weeks before this debate, Secretary of State Antony Blinken traveled to Haiti to show support for U.S.-backed government and Kenyan police who are they're installing Kenyan police to police Haiti. And it's causing chaos. It's causing problems. And we're calling people who are fighting back against this terrorists. We're calling these Haitians who are fighting against a foreign country coming in and destabilizing them terrorists. No, they're fighting for their own sovereignty. But I've done some research, and we were involved in an assassination of Haiti's leader back in 2004. We destabilize these countries, and people justifiably flee their homeland because their homeland's been destabilized. And where are they showing up? They're showing up to our door. So it's like, I have a problem with the mass migration to America that's happening, but we got to understand our role in this, that we are destabilizing these nations. I mean, not only Haiti, we know that we destabilize the world. I mean, we're involved in destabilization of Ecuador,
El Salvador.
El Salvador, a bunch of South American countries. We're destabilizing these places, and these people are coming here. Why don't we focus on ending the military-industrial complex? That's the big reason we have these migration problems, but nobody wants to talk about that. Both sides are completely wedded to the military-industrial complex. Why didn't Trump bring up Antony Blinken's recent trip to Haiti? Again, I didn't watch the debate, so maybe he did. I doubt it. I doubt he even knows that happened. But why is the U.S. traveling to Haiti, and why are American taxpayers paying for Kenyan police to police Haiti? Why doesn't Trump bring that up? Because Trump supports that.
Well, yeah, and then, going back to the Reagan movie that, Ronald Reagan said that we defeated communism without firing a single shot. Did we? Didn't we supply weapons to Afghanistan? And, we didn't pull those triggers, but those were our weapons in Central and South America, the Nicaraguan Contras, El Salvador, the Civil War in El Salvador, Argentina, Chile. We didn't pull those triggers. Yeah, we didn't fire the shot, but yet they were with our own weapons that we gave them to our own taxpayer money. So, and even in the 90s with Haiti, we've been destabilizing Haiti since the 80s with Papa Doc and Baby Doc. So, and yet that's why you saw a large migration into Florida. Now they're going into Ohio because Florida's filled up with Haitians, which, again, I don't have any problem with people coming here as long as they don't ask for handouts. I have no issues. Now, I also don't have no issues if the states were able to handle that naturalization and immigration policy. I don't want the federal government. You see the disaster of the federal government, what they've done. You want them to build a wall? I don't want that. That's if Texas, Arizona, or Florida wants to patrol their waterways, that's Florida's business because it's its own sovereignty. So, I don't want a centralized power, but unfortunately for both sides, from Trump and Harris, they do want a centralized policy of federal government because that's what they're selling. They're selling that message. They're selling that fear. They're installing that fear. Now, I'm going to bring my last point is that when Seth said that, Kamala Harris pointed out the word freedom, but in regarding to reproductive freedom, because that's the only thing they care about on the abortion issue. I'm a religious man, but I'm an individual person, and I do believe that the abortion issue is a Ninth Amendment right. It's not a state's right because they are denying that individual freedom of that person. Regardless if there's a baby in the womb or not, it's still that individual freedom of that person to do what it pleases with their bodies. It's some states have prohibited based on the individual freedom of the Ninth Amendment. Some states have not. But that's the beauty of this People's Republic, that we have this representation, whether it's with our own, with a plebiscite, with a referendum, or in the voice of the legislature. So, but neither of them would say that because they're ignorant. Both Harris and Trump I bet they haven't even read the Constitution. Harris used to be a public prosecutor. And she probably doesn't even know the Fourth Amendment exists. She probably never even used the warrant service when she was a prosecutor. And Trump, he's always back in the blue and defend the blue, so he has no idea about the Fourth Amendment. So, this is a pure of ignorance that we see here, and the people who are following them are so sadly confused and bamboozled that it's sad. I've seen people that are just MAGA or Democrat liberal, and I'm like, wait a minute, take a step back, read the Constitution, read what Kamala Harris has done when she was in the LA in the San Francisco prosecutor's office. See what Trump has done with Back the Blue, and he was just endorsed with the policemen's union. Don't just go for that individual. Know what you're doing. Vote your conscience, not for party. Vote your mind. A vote for either Trump or Kamala, for Donald or Kamala it's a vote it's a wasted vote because you're wasting your vote. Be honest. It's a wasted vote. You're not going to get anything in return. You're not going to win anything. You're not going to get anything. So you might as well just don't vote because it's futile.
Yeah, and this whole election is a distraction as well. I don't know how many people know this story that came out about basically the U.S. is set to allow Ukraine to use long-range missiles to strike deep inside of Russia. That just came out a few days ago, and that's a major escalation. People don't realize this is a big escalation, and America's desire to get involved in the Russia-Ukraine crap. This could set off World War III, and we're sitting here watching two clowns talk about who has a better plan for us. There are some major stories like that don't get the airtime at all, that are far more important than what these clowns talked about at the debate. They're really fired up to get us involved in a world war, and both sides want to do that, and nobody's talking about that. We just came off of 9/11 as well. That was the day after. That wasn't even brought up. Not that they would ever talk about 9/11 in a way I would want them to. That there's a lot of questions that need to be asked still today, 23 years later, about 9/11. But it's a big distraction. It's a distraction, and there are major stories out there that don't get any airtime because we have to discuss which puppet to put in place. And I can't watch these debates. It's just not possible. I physically can't watch it.
Well, I don't know. Trump has said that he's not going to debate anymore. So is this the last one, or there's another one?
Well, I suspect. We are still almost 2 months left. In elections, that's an eternity. Things will rapidly change. Yeah. I think it's up in the air. I wouldn't be surprised if Trump debates again. Right now, he's saying they don't want to debate again. Kamala Harris, because she probably won based on what I'm reading. Again, I didn't watch it, so I can't say who won the debate. And it's not like when we talk about who won a debate, I don't know how do you measure that. Of course, Trump's side thinks that Trump won. Harris's side thinks that she won. What I know is the American people lost, and that's always the case when we let this kind of philosophy to continue, where it's all the president dictates everything for this country. We all lose then. But I suspect Trump will eventually debate again if they can get. I'm sure he would like a Fox News debate. Kamala Harris, I guess, previously said she wouldn't debate on Fox, which then questions why would Trump debate on ABC, which apparently the moderator was a sorority sister of Kamala Harris. So, there's legitimate complaints about the bias of the moderators, but why did Trump agree to it then? But it's to me, it's all theater. It's all show. So I think they're all in it together, but I'm a kook.
No, people will really have to start waking up and listen to people like us, Seth, and really understand that, there is no win on either side. A vote for neither Trump or Harris is a vote for a republic. So, people need to vote their conscience, need to really understand, not just for party or party influence or party organizations or movement. It's you should not do that. we got 2 more months. You're right. In elections, that's an eternity. Things can change. Maybe Kamala Harris will, because she'll pander to the Law and Order crowd at Fox News. She's gonna bring up when she was a prosecutor and she prosecuted crimes, some a little more in depth than others. So she'll pander, and that's what Democrats will do. Republicans, they pander to their side only. And why did Trump accept the ABC debate? I don't know, because to be honest with you, Trump's an idiot. But Kamala Harris can, I think, pander to both sides. So maybe we'll see Fox News. Maybe we'll see. We won't see One American News. That we won't see. But maybe we'll see a Fox News debate because they can pander to both. But my last thing is, don't get bamboozled in by these two buffoons. Vote your conscience. Vote by principle. Vote what you think is right, not because of party, not because of movement, because of you. You are the one that holds the key. So, for the love of God, just don't give in to this buffoonery. And, again, vote your conscience, vote your liberty, and not for these idiots. How about you, Seth? What's your final thoughts on this ongoing circus?
Yeah, I just, I think we need to kind of ignore it as much as possible. It's hard not to see the headlines and all the nonsense that is spewed at these things, but we really need to start focusing locally and protecting ourselves. Look, we've got the debt that we have in this country. It's completely unsustainable. We're going to have hard economic times in the near future, in my opinion. I don't know when, but it's got to happen, just because I understand numbers enough that this is unsustainable. And it doesn't matter which one of these people gets installed, it's going to happen. We can't stave off this collapse, this coming collapse. I feel like it's sooner rather than later, but again, I don't know. I mean, I think we should have collapsed a long time ago based on our debt, but we need to prepare for that, and we need to focus on protecting ourselves from all the problems that are being forced upon us by this clown show. And, we need to ignore these debates. Like I said, I couldn't stomach listening to more than a couple minutes. And if there is another debate, I don't know if I'm even going to bother even trying to watch, because it'll be the same thing. But we'll see. Just don't worry about what these people are doing. Worry about what you're doing in your daily life, and that should always be the case. But especially now with just how depraved this system has become.
Yeah, and to that note, to that note, you're absolutely right. You fathomed 2 minutes. I couldn't fathom even 1 second because I just didn't watch it. But I'll watch the snippets and then I'll make fun of both of them, because both of them are useless and futile. But there are people that's still gonna vote because they vote Democrat or Republican, or because they like MAGA or they like the liberalism. So we can't change those people, but we can change a few. And so again, just vote your conscience and all that. But yeah, we'll see what comes next, and we'll catch you next Sunday or Monday. And hope you stay tuned and have yourself a great night.
Good night.